7-Eleven on the other side of the prospering here is looking to close over 400 locations in America.
Yeah.
What's going on?
What they said publicly is slowing sales, declining traffic, inflationary pressures, and a decrease in cigarette purchases. Their big thing was the retail environment remained robust amongst high income earners. Mm-hmm. And middle and low income earners have really reduced their consumption. Cigarette sales from 2019 have fallen 26%.
Number one, I'm surprised crime isn't in there, and maybe it's subtly a thing and they're not calling it out. Yeah. But if you think about it, we talk about a lot of like silly new or kind of borderline depressing news, but like the fact that cigarette sales are down that much that it's impacting 7-Eleven's pretty positive.
Cash.
Ladies and gentlemen, group chat.
Cash.
It's $1 trillion. Hot.
Okay, so I want to start with some good news.
Yeah.
Mrs. Paff, my mother, loved the DA episode. I think was impressed by him or liked hearing from him. I mean, she lives in Ohio, but she wants her kid to be safe. And her, what would you call your
surrogates,
children. Yeah. But she was very proud of us.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty,
it's big.
Pretty big deal. It just so happened that I was stuck at home. Dee, you were traveling. So we were, that would have been a cool one to do in person.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool, especially if you do live in Ohio, like my mother. The potential DA of Los Angeles is a pretty big, and so I just want to say we're making waves. We're doing big things over here. And hopefully group chat has a little bit of a magic touch that we unfortunately had to pay for the last 4 years. And maybe, the new guy.
Yeah, I think I got a lot of really positive feedback from people saying it went really well. And I'll be honest, I walked out of that. I had to run to a meeting right after that. But when I was walking to the meeting, I was like, damn, LA's hot. If this guy gets elected, God willing,
yep.
I'm so optimistic that I actually think it changes like that day.
Yeah, because I think it's actually easier to change than it seems.
Yes.
You change a couple policies.
Yeah.
Like, how we all know how it is. When there is something you can exploit in business.
Everyone does it.
Everyone does it.
So a great example of that just reminded me because I've been waiting for 3 years is the ERC, which is the Employment Retention Credit.
Yep.
And it was a really awesome program that the federal government put together and said, if you retained employees during COVID, 2020, 21, you would get rewarded with all the payroll tax back to you.
Yep.
And everyone filed and rushed to do it. What happened? Fraud.
Right.
Rampant fraud. Right. In fact, there were so many television advertisements about saying if you had employees that people made up companies, made up payroll stubs, they faked the whole fucking thing and screwed it up. For everyone who had good intention, myself included, who still not received the money 3 fucking years later.
Right.
And so it's like pretty, and to your point, like whether it's crime, whether it's a tax rebate, whether it's...
it's all business.
Yeah.
It's all ways to make money.
Yeah.
And the moment you close it, I think it closes. I think word gets out.
Yeah.
And there's probably other places that they can go where they're still loose. And I think it happens pretty quick.
Yeah, it really does.
I think next year, summer, we're out.
Here's my goal to know it's successful. I am walking at night with my kids.
Yeah.
Where I feel comfortable and safe that I'm walking down Sunset Boulevard with my kids.
I mean, when I'm on the way home from here, so I leave here at 9. I'm in a car.
Probably 8:45. Yeah.
Probably 8:45. I'm in a car. I'm not walking with my kids. I drive like a maniac.
So it's funny is the last week or 2 weeks ago.
Can you actually explain what you told me the other day?
Yeah, but what were you gonna say?
I think we sometimes take the same route.
Yeah.
And I remember, I think I saw you on Sunset fucking flooring.
Flying.
And there was a part where I live, which is kind of the safer part of Sunset.
Yes.
It's not it's bad, but it's not the worst. And you're flooring it by my house.
I told Anand that because I was like, when the DA was on, we were talking after the DA was on, I was saying that I became aware of it when I flew past you.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, fuck, Dee's going to think I'm a psycho.
Yeah.
It's because even in my car, I try my best to be the first one at every light if it's a red light. If I'm behind anyone, I make sure I'm far enough behind them that I could pull out around them. And then when I'm driving, I'm just flying. And if I can see if anyone's following me. It's harder for someone to follow me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally I'm not even thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like I'm just, it just feels like hurry up and get home and fucking don't get caught in any bullshit.
Yeah.
And when I flew past you, I was like, oh, fuck.
I saw you like, I was like, where the fuck is going so fast?
Did you guys go like eye to eye?
No, I went around him and I was like, oh, that was D. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And that's not even, so to your point, yes, walking down the street at night would be amazing. I'm nervous even driving.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't stop for gas, especially ever since my armed robbery attempt.
Yeah. I would never. I the other day, I landed late at night. I had like 10 miles to go empty.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck it.
Stretched it.
It was 10 miles to my house.
Yeah.
And that usually means 5 miles.
Yep.
But I was like, I don't care. I refuse to stop.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think you could clean it up pretty quick. I think even just the word he was in there.
Yeah.
The party's over.
Yeah.
And everyone, like I said, everyone's going to a different city.
Let's say he gets whatever inaugurated, for some first, second week of January.
Right.
I'm talking like first crime gets committed, sentence that person.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy.
Yep.
It's a wrap.
Yeah. I think so too. I think next summer we're going to be chilling.
I really hope so.
I think it's way worse.
I really think he has a meaningful impact on the city if he gets elected.
Yeah.
And I've gotten so many messages of people that were like, if he's here, I'll move here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, here's a funny antidote. I went to the gun store the other day to buy a new gun.
Right.
And there's a gun.
Is it great?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to right now.
There's a gun that was formerly.
Will you shoot a gun?
If I have to.
You can't.
I know you.
We should go to the gun range.
I've been arrested for a gun.
Let's go to the gun range. Yeah, you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many people listening have been arrested for a gun charge?
I have a gun charge. D. And probably one other. And so here's just a funny, quick little story is there's like a, there's a case full of guns that are only available to cops. You can only buy them if you're a cop because they're too small, to whatever. They don't meet the California regulations. There's one that they just took off the list of law enforcement only that is made for concealed carrying because it's pretty small, and they just made it available to everyone. And the guys were telling me that
it's a hot seller.
It is the hottest seller in the whole store.
Like the Jordan sneakers.
Exactly. Because everyone's like, oh shit, I got the one I can keep in my bag.
Yeah.
And on one hand I was like, oh cool, cool information. But I was like, that's such a bummer.
Yeah.
Like the fact that this thing goes on sale and it's the hottest thing in the world because the market for guns you can stuff in your bag is,
it's so crazy. It's a wild times right now.
Yeah. Here's one other thing with wild times, complete topic jump, but still wild times. It's not on our list. Did you guys see that clip of Elon fucking landing the rocket back on the chopsticks? It's so mind blowing. This guy was just hopping on stage with Trump.
Yeah.
It's constantly in all of his shenanigans. And then it's like the biggest feat in aerospace.
Yeah.
In ever. And it's just really crazy.
I think what's interesting about Elon is that he's going to go down as a very controversial figure.
Yeah.
Because of a few political views.
Right.
And it's kind of I think 100 years from now, Elon will look like Thomas Edison.
or Howard Hughes, or I think
you know
we'll just
I mean?
be like, oh, he was a weird guy.
Yeah, but like I'm sure if we dug deep into Ben Franklin and Thomas Edison, we'd hear a lot of things we don't like.
I mean, if they had a Twitter.
Yeah. And I think 20 years from now, Elon will still be a pretty controversial figure.
Yeah.
Because he'll still be jumping around stages and whatever.
Yeah.
And what I don't want to happen is that like a whole generation of young people get like, because there's a lot of young people that find him repulsive and don't like him.
Right.
And I think that sucks because he is extremely inspirational.
Yeah, and I think it also sucks because there's kind of this tie between like, see, that's how rich guys are. We hate rich guys.
Yeah.
But don't you think it's kind of self-inflicting?
I do, to a degree. But I think that...
Like, obviously, he's a fucking brilliant entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Like, there's no debate about it. He's one of the most brilliant entrepreneurs.
I know, but here, the one thing is, it's not just about entrepreneurship and money. It's actually how he made his money.
No, I don't care about money. I'm just saying what he's done. It's very impactful.
But here's my take. I'll give you my take on what you're saying is, yes, I think it's heavily self-inflicted. I think he's a weird dude. He's a quirky dude. I don't view him personally as like a bad person that has done anything bad or malicious or whatever to the point where he deserves whatever. I think the thing that is a shame is that like, it's that Joe Biden is saying we need to look into that guy. And there's all of these suits against him. And they're citing his politics in like why they're giving him SpaceX permits or not.
Yeah.
That is the shit. I have no problem if anyone says, hey, I don't really like Elon personally. Like he's a bit of a goofball. Not really my type of dude. No, I don't even blame you. I would never argue with someone about that at all. But I think like stifling the level of fucking innovation that is so next level because of like politics or like.
But I honestly think it's like kind of twofold.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning like he's clearly one of the best business persons in the history of the world.
Yep.
There's no question, right? Like all the things he's accomplished.
Right.
But he also does things on kind of like social that makes him look like a clown.
Right. But my point is like, you gotta
separate those
the
things.
adults have to be the adults. And unless he does.
That's like saying,
separate.
Okay, Michael Jordan. Was Michael Jordan a good human being?
Honestly, in 2024, they probably would have hated him.
Yeah.
But Steve Jobs probably would have.
They probably would have hated him.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs, Michael Jordan.
You're talking about the 90s.
But I'm just saying, imagine if Steve Jobs couldn't get like patents approved or something because they were like, oh, we don't like his take on whatever the fuck he was talking about. My point is like, yes, things are different and people are more accessible, but like the adults have to be the adults. You can't stifle innovation. You can't only talk. There's a certain group of people that only talk about his negatives, and they literally write articles when he does like a test fire of a rocket that doesn't work. It was a 50-50 chance if it would work. It's not really about it working. And like, haha, SpaceX, another explosion. Like, what are you doing? Like we're like putting being a hater into like the natural approved adult discourse.
Yeah.
And this guy's making these insane innovations.
Yeah.
You got to be able to separate. Yes.
No,
in a perfect world, he'd be a little less,
if
goofy,
he actually was less on the kind of fuckery,
right,
he'd be the greatest human in
I know, but
the whole time.
this is not how it works. It's like saying that for Michael Jordan should have gambled.
Or Steve Jobs or anyone. Or Kobe or any of these people.
Kobe shouldn't have been doing what he was doing.
Yeah.
But that's what made them great. They had their ways of letting off steam that would not be accepted by society.
Right.
It's very similar to you never want to meet your idols, like that idea.
Right.
But unfortunately, in social media era, you all get to meet your idols.
I know. That is
like
the problem.
There's some kid. There's some 30-year-old.
Elon hasn't met any of his kids, so that's another.
Look, there you go. Come on.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't get sucked into your wokie Elon hate.
I'm just saying.
You're going to have to hate a lot of people then. You can't like anyone that you admire. They're all bad people then.
I mean, Kobe is your GOAT, and he's one of the most like critiqued people of like his
personal antics.
Right. Frozen.
What do you want me to get?
we're saying you gotta
separate the greatness from the personal, because then you cannot like Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
You would have to say, I can't like him.
Why can't I like him?
You don't think he was personally flawed?
He was personally flawed.
I know, but Elon is personally flawed too.
But he's doing it daily.
Did you know everything Kobe did? He grew up in a different era. That's all I'm saying.
Like if what Kobe said at practice was on Twitter, he would have been canceled. You know what I'm saying? It's just, Elon has a big fucking mouth. I'm not even trying to advocate for that he's the best human on the planet, but Jesus Christ, these innovations are so insane. And there's this narrative of like, fuck him, fuck all rich people, fuck blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he's probably cheating on his taxes. Pay your taxes, Elon. Fucking another rocket exploded. Fuck you, clown. Like, and it's like, that shit is crazy. That video of that rocket being caught by the fucking chopsticks.
Yeah. And by the way, the same time this week, which was also heavily ridiculed, he had his We Robot Day.
Right.
Where he unveiled the RoboCab. Right. He unveiled the RoboVan. He unveiled Optimus.
But he also like provided Starlink for Hurricane Helene victims. Like,
yeah. And what's funny is I saw so many people ridicule they're like, the ruse is up on Tesla. He promised autonomous cars. He promised all of these things and it didn't happen. And I think like, it's really, he's just, it is what it is. He's a polarizing figure, and all great people in today's climate are polarizing. Like I can't think of a great person that everyone loves, period. There isn't.
P. Diddy.
But even Caitlin Clark, like what she did was like remarkable to sports, not women's sports, period.
Right.
She is so fucking polarizing.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. But I just look, all of that aside, just that video of the thing getting caught with the chopsticks was pretty fucking crazy.
Give me goosebumps.
Yeah. It was just all over. It was in my sauna TikTok session today. It was all that. By the way, just for the listeners who might be curious, Lieutenant Dan is alive and well.
Survived.
Big on TikTok.
Yeah. Now he's just he also lost his mind.
But apparently there's something, so I don't know the story of this, but similar to what we were just talking about is like, apparently Aiden Ross promised to give him like a new boat, 100 grand, but then like bailed on it because he like learned more about him.
Yeah. He's been arrested like 17 times.
Right. So, I mean, even Lieutenant Dan.
You don't want to know too much about your heroes.
About anybody.
Yeah, you don't.
Literally.
I think
Aiden Ross not going to give him the money?
No, because he was arrested like 17 times. He was like, oh, he's a bad guy.
Yeah, he bailed.
Because his fans told him he's not a good person. So Aiden Ross had to back out.
Right.
Poor Lieutenant Dan.
Poor Lieutenant Dan, man. Okay.
I just want to touch on, we had, if you listen to the pod, we talked about this last week. A very, very close friend of ours passed, and we had his funeral today.
Yeah.
And it was incredibly tough. Very emotional, because obviously he's a young guy in the grand scheme of life and had a family. And so many of the people there were people that he grew up with. Right. And, it was like, it was very like bittersweet in that we had to kind of bid farewell.
Yep.
At the same time, and I don't know how many people get a chance to do this, especially people that have moved from where they grew up to other cities, like someone like yourself.
Right.
We got a chance to, for 5, 6 hours today, relive our childhood.
Yeah.
And see everyone, literally everyone that we grew up with.
Yeah.
From all different facets of life, from school to college to sports. And it was a beautiful, beautiful day just to see everyone, relive it, and kind of say goodbye and hopefully create like more purpose in our friendships amongst our friends. Right. I thought that was really important, because it's so easy. And I'd call you out on this. It's so easy to just go on with your life,
right,
and then not connect with people,
right.
But you got to be like purposeful on connecting with your friends,
right.
on a as often as you can. No one's expecting it to be at the time when you were peak friends with people.
Yeah.
But if it's, twice a year, once a year, whatever it is. But like some of these people I didn't see in 25 years.
Right.
25 years.
Right.
That's fucking crazy. And these are some people I saw every single day.
Yeah.
And then 25 years, I don't see them.
Yeah.
It was really wild.
That's how I felt at Anand's birthday party the other night.
Yeah.
Because for me, for me, it was like weird. Like there's no one from my hometown.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
it's like weird how it played out for me. But yes, you're totally right. Yeah.
That you do get.
But I'm saying even that group, like the group of all your guys' friends. I mean, they're my friends too, but like, through you guys, I don't see them enough, so yeah, it's a good point.
But it's like, it was a reminder that we shouldn't be so prideful in waiting for the phone call.
Right.
But to actually make the phone call.
Right.
I think that was a big, just a reminder of our friend who passed. He was a very prideful person, and maybe he was expecting us to make the phone call and we didn't make the phone call. Like, I have a lot of regrets around that.
Right.
And I think that part was very telling that, like, just fucking pick up the phone, call people, even if it's a phone call. Right. And full circle, a lot of the stories said at the funeral were around all of us playing sports as children together.
Mm-hmm. I'm
leaving his house, and there's a lot of people, and I make a right down their street, and I parked a little further away because there's a lot of people there, and I walk by a group of 5 little boys playing soccer, and I was like, fuck, that's literally us.
Yeah, right.
It was like a full circle moment, just like, oh my God. I literally stopped and stared at them, and the mom was like, what, looking at me like, what are you looking at? I was like, it's like, I just witnessed like an end of an era with someone passing. And like, that is so far removed from my life now.
Yeah.
And I'm walking by these 5 little boys playing soccer, and, oh, you scored, you didn't, call foul, whatever. Yeah. Literally the same shit we were just talking about at this funeral and what we lived our whole life.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I lost it. Like, I couldn't even, I just ran to my car because I couldn't even take it.
Right.
But,
I think to kind of add on to what Dee was saying, it's really interesting how we don't, like, I'm at fault at this as well. We don't check in on people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you don't know how important that is.
Yeah. I agree.
And, I'm at fault for it as well. And it's just like, you've no idea what people are going through.
Yeah.
And it's just like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah. Funny how, like, why, I'm trying to think in my head, like, why do we make that so tough? Like, why is that such a vulnerable
and it's so
act?
easy. It's a fucking text message.
Right.
You know what happens is, as time goes on, like, time passes fast, right? And the further you go away from your last communication, the next communication becomes more difficult.
Yeah.
That is really what happens.
But why?
What
is that feeling that stops?
It's I think it's like a sense, it's pride.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of ego in there.
But I also think too, like, there's a little bit of like, you don't want the other person to think you're weird, or that
I don't think that's it. I think, oh, they didn't hit me up.
Right.
I don't want to be the one that hits them up. I subconsciously, I think it's a lot of that. It's just like, time passes and then that person doesn't hit you up. Then should you be the one that hits them up? And like, I think you have to, like, and you're probably good at this, like, in terms of like making lists, checking it twice.
Right.
Better find out.
I'm drama clause. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think you almost have to be that deliberate.
Right.
Like, so much of, to me, the future state of like humanity is a lot more deliberate.
Yeah.
You want to be healthy, there's a path. You want to be smart, there's a path.
Yeah.
There's no more like haves and have-nots. It's whether if you are willing to go down that path or not.
Yeah.
And I think when it comes to relationships and friendships and loved ones, you just like, there's so much like weird, I don't know, like I think for men, I don't know what it is for women because I can't obviously relate.
Yeah.
But I think for men, it's like either pride, embarrassment, ego. I don't know what it is. I think it's a combination of all of this.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't know what it is either. But there's some like resistance.
Yeah.
That's silly. There's nothing behind it.
There's nothing behind it.
No.
It's just stupid. That's why I think it's like pride.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you pick up the phone and call someone?
It is, I will say, I'm sorry to be the guy that's going to bring this up, but like, it's one thing I value a lot about golfing is like golfing is like playing soccer, like as kids for adults.
Yeah. I agree.
like, there are a lot of people that I like, oh, so-and-so is going to join us today. Oh, I haven't seen them in 6 years.
Yeah.
And they come golfing. It's 4 hours. You're outside. You're kind of moving around. You're competing. Like there are so many people.
It's exactly the same. I agree.
Yeah, there are so many people that I golf
even make
with.
Fun of that.
I know it's easy to make fun of. Though.
Well, it's stupid sport, but yeah, I agree.
But I'll tell you what I was thinking about. I literally just talked about it because over the weekend I went to a dinner with friends and like, even Rob, my cousin, like I wouldn't see him. I'd see him 2 or 3 times a year.
It wasn't for golf.
It wasn't for golf. Brian, who I would not see him ever. I see him every weekend. And then whoever joins us. So I think the reason why I'm even making fun of myself is because I'm also realizing why a lot of like older dudes do it. Like they're probably all like, no shit, dude.
Yeah.
Like that's why we do it. But it is kind of like an activity. It's almost like how could you like make activity? I used to go bowling every Tuesday.
Yeah.
And whoever wanted to come could come and I'd see a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Like how could you make like routines around creating moments for people to come?
Yeah. I agree. It's obviously we're speaking through the lens of men. Women have their way of connecting. And I think there's like this general theme amongst men as you get older. It's really hard to connect with people.
Right.
Really hard to make friends.
It's like a trending topic. Like they've been talking about it a lot.
Yeah. And I see it. Like I saw it. I've seen it I see it with friends.
Yeah.
Like it's really hard for them. Like I have a very social career.
Right.
The amount of new people I become friends with weekly is bananas.
You're also just a very social dude. Like of all my friends, you are the most social. Like you genuinely, it's not that you like are out every night. It's that you like genuinely love hanging around and talking shit with people.
Yeah.
And it could be some new people. Obviously you prefer people but like you really enjoy it.
I think I agree. And I think I've just really enjoy company.
Yeah.
And I enjoy anyone that has good energy and wants to be around. Like I've always loved that.
Right.
And, after this weekend, I have like, just being around like people you grew up is so different than being around people you met in the last 10 years. Right. Like I love the people I've met in the last 10 years and they're like brothers and sisters to me as well. But like the people you grew up with know you from the most innocent stage of your life.
Yeah.
It's so different.
Yeah.
Like they saw you like who you actually were.
Yeah.
And then
there's like a core of you.
Yeah. The adult version of me is like accumulation of experiences and learnings and
ass kickings and
who I wanted to become. Right. Like I wanted to become this person.
Yeah.
Whereas like when you're like 10 years old, that's who you are.
Right.
Yeah. There's a difference between having friends when you're really young and then when you're like in your 20s. And it's imposter syndrome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like we're all trying to figure out how can we be the most important people in our sector.
Yeah.
And I think that's also like a part of how you drift off with different people from your kids.
Plus you have kids and you have wives and you have businesses and you have, like things it's like, family. I have some free time finally on Saturday night. I'm going to get to bed early because I'm fucking exhausted.
Yeah.
Like things just
Friday night, I think I went to bed at 8:30.
Yeah. Yeah.
8:30.
Yeah. I get it.
I was just like so exhausted. And Saturday night I went to sleep at 9:15 and I was like, I so badly want to see everyone.
Yeah.
I'm just physically drained.
Yeah. Well, what's the lesson for the listener? What's the one sentence?
I think the lesson is really like, just make sure you check in and just ask your friends what's going on.
Right.
I think that's a lesson.
Yeah. I think my lesson would be more of just go see people, do things that like, you know, you kind of think is a good idea. And every group of friends has someone that like brings everyone together.
Right.
I was always that for my core group of friends. And I think it's so easy. And a friend of mine said this today, and like, don't complicate it. Just tell everyone to be here like a Saturday at 4 p.m.
Right.
Like, don't try to make it fancy.
Right.
Don't make it overcomplicated.
Right.
And I think you just have to be deliberate about spending time.
Yeah.
Like, I think like if you were older and you were at this phase of life that I'm particularly at, I think you would literally have a checklist.
Right.
And you would say, I need to see this person for 4 hours every year.
Right.
And this is how I'm going to see it.
Yeah, I get it.
They like to golf? Great.
Yeah.
You like to read a book? Great.
Yeah.
You like to jerk off? Great. We will jerk off 4 hours.
4 hours of jerking off.
But I'm just saying, I think you would be.
Yeah.
And I actually, I thought about that. I was like, fuck, I just have to like make a list and be deliberate about it. Because I don't think I'm going to do it organically.
Yeah.
I think that's nonsense to think that I would do that.
Yeah.
So I think you have to be deliberate.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm already thinking of what my list would be.
Yeah.
But those are both great. Those are both, it's not a like who's right. It's like what you both took away from it. That's great. Yeah.
No, I think,
well,
we don't need to.
Condolences to everyone involved. And the best thing we can do is take a positive out of it being what you guys are saying. So I think like even making a 5% shift, I mean, I know even I'm thinking about it, is taking a positive out of it.
Yeah. What's crazy is the podcast. Obviously, we have a lot of friends that listen.
Yeah. Text me, by the way, friends. Speaking of this fucking lesson, is all these people, you guys see more than I do. Yeah. Every time I see them, I haven't seen them for like 3 years. They're like, oh, I listen to you every week. I'm like, I don't hear from you.
Yeah.
You got to hit me up.
Yeah. And by the way, like, I think as you get older, you forget to invite people to things.
Right. Of course.
You just and I think it's a part of like, oh, am I still friends with that person? Do they even still like me?
Yeah.
Just fuck it.
I do it bad to myself too. Cause like if you don't show up to 5 things, you don't get invited to the 6th through 10th.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the zone I live in a lot, you know?
I'm pretty good about that.
Right.
About inviting people.
Oh yeah, you are. But
no, so my point, what I was going to say is like, we were at, the services or whatever. And numerous people came up to me and said, they listened to the pod and heard us talk about we're our Matt. We can talk about now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy that this stupid podcast has like people were like crying in their cars.
Yeah.
When we were talking about it.
Yeah. Here's another funny thing is I had a conversation with a friend that we all know. I guess I won't put her on blast, but her and her friends, we know her, but not like that well. They have a group chat about group chat that they all like. That's what they.
Yeah, it's so awesome.
That's like their little thing. It's just funny when you do something like this. You don't really realize we're just sitting here talking.
Yeah.
On a couch with mics in front of us, but like the effect of it is interesting sometimes.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. That's the lesson. I mean, take all of our listeners, whatever that means to you, whatever little adjustment, I think that's really good advice to take away from such a tough time.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. News.
Yes. Let's do it.
Okay. Here's an issue. LA, as everyone knows, is the world capital of, the entertainment industry, movies, shows, everything under the sun, music, all of it. it's a bit of a tough time. So there was a real boom that happened, like, I'm going to probably butcher this, but I would say like 2015 to 20 maybe.
Yep.
Where like all of these it was like the streamer wars. Everyone was starting a streaming platform. Everyone was severely funded, and everyone was just throwing so much money at content. Yep. That I would imagine, I wasn't in the business, during that time, but I would imagine like all the way from like, if you're a lighting person to a camera guy to obviously talent, probably felt like quite a boom. Now it appears as if that might be kind of drying up a little bit.
Yeah. So the big news that's happened. So in 2021, 23% of all qualified projects were shot in LA. In 2022, it was 22%. And then in 2023, it was 18%. So assuming that went down again this year, it's a pretty substantial decline in global filming. And then you, like, to your point, the entire budget of the entire industry in the last 3 years has shrunk. Then the other issue is there's a lot of things happening in the industry where technology and then which has reduced the need for workers and cheaper production everywhere else. Because like you could now, like a lot of movies and TV shows that say they're shot in Miami or LA are shot in other cities, in other countries in some cases.
A lot in Vancouver.
Yeah. And so that, the number of streaming series releases shot in LA dropped 28% last year.
Why are they leaving because of costs mainly?
I think it has to be purely cost. I think running a company in California, as we all know, is incredibly difficult. And then
this has been a trend for a while, right?
Yeah, but I think it's accelerating now.
And I think to Dee's point, when you add on top of it, the budgets of the streamers may be going down, AI and tech and things. It's just a lot at once, it seems like.
I mean, Emily's in Paris.
She got a new season.
Yeah. And I heard she's going to Rome.
Wow. Yeah. That's a problem. We got to get her to LA.
Emily in LA.
Yeah. What were you going to say on it?
No, I was saying like movies and TV shows have been filmed in all these cities for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
I know, but why is it going
new?
away from LA?
What's new?
But why is it going
Why is it
away?
leaving?
Why is the numbers changing?
They give tax benefits. They give like tax breaks. They
Yeah,
give
but we
everything.
don't do that in California.
No, we don't.
Yeah, so we're going to lose it. It's fine.
But it's been going on for 20 years.
I know, but
is
it's
my point.
accelerating now.
I don't think it's accelerating. It's just like the smart, just business decision.
But I think the reason why there's articles and stuff about it is because the numbers are showing that it's now starting to drop pretty rapidly.
Yeah.
I think it's slowly been eating away
now
over
it's
time.
plummeting.
Dude,
Right.
you guys all know actors. They're all in New Orleans. They're all in all these different cities.
No, you're right. And it's always been that way.
Yeah,
the
but what's your
thing
point?
is,
It's-
For 20 years.
Yeah, but it's over.
There's no news. This isn't news.
No, but it is news. It's accelerated drastically in the last 2 years.
right. That's the news.
The
Is
news
it's
is that
accelerating.
it went
Right.
bananas down.
I don't.
It did. That's what they said.
I mean, they say that, but it's been happening since we've been adults.
No, I don't think so. Not like this. Not like this.
It's just funny
There's
that,
no
like,
movies being filmed in LA. Sorry.
It's funny that I feel like California this probably happens to like all, I guess it's kind of how the US as a whole is a little bit, but like they're just fumbling like the best, like you were given a gift, which is that like it's perfect weather.
Perfect everything.
Like everything's perfect. It's a fucking huge state. You have so many people, so much power, so many businesses, so much tax revenue.
Yeah.
And like they're just fumbling.
It's what Detroit did with the auto industry.
Right.
They got too cocky that it would never leave. Cleveland was the second biggest city in the country.
It's crazy.
Cleveland.
That's crazy.
Look
But,
what
like,
happened to Cleveland.
At least Detroit and Cleveland's weather sucks. At least like California is perfect.
Yeah.
If it just wasn't, like, just don't fuck with it too much.
Yeah.
Don't have the highest taxes in the whole country. Don't
Look,
have the.
look, if I was running for governor, I would give the entertainment industry. We all know the most powerful export of United States is culture.
Right.
And Los Angeles is the centerpiece of culture for the world. Why the fuck wouldn't you just give the tax benefits, give whatever you need to do to keep Hollywood, Hollywood?
Right.
It doesn't even make sense. Like, what the fuck is leadership doing in this state, in this city?
I think
Nathan
you're right.
Hochman for mayor.
Yeah.
Next.
Think of when you have like a business that's just crushing it and it's so on fire for so long, you just take your hand off the wheel.
The problem is it's very similar to what you're talking about, the billionaire class. People in LA will be like, oh, Hollywood elites, Hollywood. They're just like, fuck them.
Right.
Let's burn them to the ground.
Right. It's just
the one thing that made this city is entertainment. That's it.
Yeah.
This city, I don't care what you say, this city was built on the entertainment industry.
But think about like if you just went with weather and we'll say beautiful landscape. There's no
place in the world.
Yeah, that's right. But there is definitely, undeniably, no state in the country that can fuck with California. Not even close.
Yeah.
And we're just driving people to fucking Austin.
Yeah.
Nashville. Stupid. Anyway, how about this? You know, we are how long from the election? Fucking tomorrow.
Yeah.
We are less than a month to election time. And, you know, of course, there's going to be a bunch of stories. The good news, if anyone's fatigued on political stuff, we don't have a lot today. But what the news that's coming out is that there's a lot of tension starting to come up between the Kamala staff and crew at the White House and the Biden staff and crew, which is funny.
Well, I don't even think it's Biden staff and crew. Biden is going scorched earth.
What's happening? Just imagine though how
anytime
awkward.
He gets a shot, he takes it at Harris.
Yeah.
Like I think Sleepy finally got rest. He woke up and said, you know what?
They pissed him off.
Did they really just kick me out of the race?
Yeah. He's like, what?
Fuck you.
Yeah.
And he's burning the house down. Anytime he can get in front of a camera, he contradicts what Harris has been saying.
Yeah.
On everything. Political, economical, everything.
Like these subtle things, right? Plus he put on a Trump hat, a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I feel like he's like these subtle little jabs.
I think what he basically realized, he's like, you know what? I got pushed out.
Right.
I'm president of the United States. I'm good for the history books.
Yeah.
Like you may laugh at me 4 years from now, 8 years from now.
Yeah.
But 50 years from now,
He's
your
solid.
local high school is going to be named after me.
Yeah.
So fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm going to burn this place down.
And it must feel a little weird that like she probably is getting a lot of the like attention.
Yeah.
Like no one's talking about Biden.
No.
And this guy, he's probably like, you know what? Fuck you.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? I've actually very smart people that are very down the middle of the road.
Yeah.
So they're not like woke. They're not right.
Smart by what standards?
Intellectually capable.
Okay.
So they can read. I just want to know. I want to define what smart is. Smart's a very loose term.
Well, tell us what you're going to say, and then we'll decide if they're
they
smart.
think Harris is going to win by a landslide.
Oh yeah, they're idiots.
They're dumb.
Yeah. They might be morons.
Yeah, they're dumb. I'm not saying she won't win, but saying she's going to win by a landslide
There's
is
no way.
absurd.
Are they part of the deep state and they're going to cheat?
No, these are like very successful business people that
Are they part of the deep state?
They probably would prefer Trump to be elected.
They probably live in a city where everyone is voting for her, so they feel that.
Yeah, where do they live?
They live in San Francisco.
I'm not saying anything.
Of course they live.
That's broad enough. You can say that.
Of course they do.
Yeah.
That's who he's talking about. He doesn't know smart people in any other city.
Yeah.
He knows people in San Francisco that are smart.
But it's not like they want
They
her
don't
to
leave
win.
their bubble.
No. They're just in a
They're
bubble.
not in the
They're not
heartland.
Yeah,
they're
in a
not saying
bubble.
they want
Let
her
me
to
tell
win.
you, go to Long
They're
Island, New
saying
York.
she's going to win.
Yeah, they are so bubbly. I'm not saying she couldn't win.
She could
I
win,
don't know.
yeah.
But saying she's going to win by a landslide is
It's a joke.
absurd.
Absurd. What's
theme,
a landslide?
No, the theme
Jimmy
was
Carter?
basically like, look, you don't understand how much people hate Trump.
I don't understand how many people
They
love
don't
Trump.
understand how many people hate the left
Yeah.
at the moment. They don't like, it's a weird, the people that hate like the woke stuff and all this stuff, I think is way more people. That's why
it's not even that they hate Harris. They hate.
I mean, even
what it
Ben
represents.
Horowitz switched.
No, but he didn't though. Switch to Kamala?
Yeah.
He didn't though.
No, he did. He said he's donating.
But this is what he's doing. This fucking tricky is I might get it wrong. Flip-flopped. He personally is sending a donation to Kamala.
Yeah.
The firm.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right. Because the business move, the smart move is Trump. The compassionate move is to keep yourself in the good graces with the left. So
just in case,
if he was polling like his firm's donation and
he can't do the firm because he has a partner.
Right. But to me, I read that as like, if you're,
I want to save face.
Yeah, that's a save face donation.
That's a pussy move.
The planning for the future donation is the business donation in my read. But I think, I don't know who's going to win. I think it will be close, but I think
that's really close.
I know everyone thinks it's a Trump landslide, and I don't think
anyone thinks it's a Trump landslide.
Some people do.
Most people. Do you know how many friends we have that text me
landslide?
That say landslide, Trump.
I don't think you can say landslide. Honestly, that's probably just more like rooting for your team. Like we're going to sweep them at the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not. You can't be realistic.
It's like USC is 3 plays away from 6-0.
We suck.
Okay, so but like. You could argue Trump or Harris at the end of this is going to be 3-3 and just didn't win, but they could have won every game and they'd be 6-0.
Yeah, I think it's going to be close, but I would say
I think it's going to be close, and I don't think that anyone knows what's going to happen.
Right,
and I think people predicting Trump landslide is kind of foolish.
Your friends are predicting Harris landslide.
I know.
Anyone saying landslide. Anyone saying landslide
they're
is
going to be dumb at the end of this.
Listen, smart people, if you're listening to this, you San Francisco people, saying landslide is stupid.
Yeah.
Okay? Go back to reading your books and coding or whatever the fuck you guys do.
Chat GPT these nuts.
Yeah, go make a new fucking app, you landsliders. Okay, next up, there is a new class of millionaires in America. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yep. What are they? Tech guys? Are they fucking influencers? Is it high fashion?
They're plumbers and HVAC.
What the fuck?
This is crazy. So if there's a lot of listeners who are in private equity, and I'm sure they'd appreciate this, but in the last, call it 5 to 10 years, historically, private equity funds have looked up for what they called roll-ups.
Yep.
Industries that, if they were rolled up into one big entity, could be way more efficient and suck more profits.
Suck them, HVAC them. So if you bought a bunch of, like, seeing an opportunity that if you bought a bunch of smaller companies.
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. And so the last 5 years, you've heard a lot of private equity dorks talk about HVAC and plumbing as the big opportunity. So they went and bought a lot of mom and pop HVAC and plumbing. Private equity investors have purchased nearly 800 HVAC, plumbing, and electrical companies since 2022.
Wow.
The average price has been $1 million. And that basically has gone up to nearly $20 million, where they just take stakes in companies.
Right.
And it's just an incredible money grab for individuals that have been running these regional HVAC or plumbing or electrician companies.
Right, right.
So it's a really opportune time if you're in one of these sectors that private equity has deemed. So like maybe like 7-10 years ago, it was veterinary clinics.
Right.
That was like a huge private equity roll-up thing.
Right.
The last 5 years, I've seen HVAC, plumbers, all that. And then what I see a lot right now that's like the hot one are accounting practices.
Right.
So these are all like anything that has a shitload of people doing it and there's not a national player in the market is an incredible opportunity. So good for you if you're a plumber and you just cashed out.
For real. I mean, yeah, because I would imagine you're probably grinding it out for years
And shit.
in shit with literally shit and literally like no one really, I don't know. I'm speaking for them without being in the world, but I would guess it's like it seems like a grind. Yeah. And I don't know that you really picture one big payday at the end of it.
No.
You probably think.
You're not thinking like, so like if you start a tech company one day, you're thinking of an exit, right?
Exactly.
And maybe you're thinking of whatever, some obscene number.
Right.
Imagine being a plumber.
Right.
You graduate high school, become a plumber, you grind it out,
right.
and maybe 20 years later, some fucking Blackstone buys your fucking plumbing shop for $20 million.
Takes your EBITDA.
That's sick.
$20 million.
Good for them. That's great.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
America.
I love it.
Gotta love it. 7-Eleven, topic jump. 7-Eleven on the other side of the prospering here is looking to close over 400 locations in America.
Yeah.
What's going on?
It has to be a crime thing.
So
that's what I thought.
So what they said publicly is slowing sales, declining traffic, inflationary pressures, and a decrease in cigarette purchases.
They don't got vapes?
Who knows? There might be like a national thing, but their big thing was the retail environment remained robust amongst high income earners, and middle and low income earners have really reduced their consumption, and cigarette sales from 2019 have fallen 26%.
Number one, I'm surprised crime isn't in there, and maybe it's subtly a thing and they're not calling it out. Yeah. But it's pretty crazy to think. I mean, that is, if you think about it, we talk about a lot of like silly news or kind of borderline depressing news, Ozempic things and stuff like that. But like the fact that cigarette sales are down that much, that it's impacting 7-Eleven's pretty positive.
Yeah, I mean, I think. And what's interesting, I'm going to give you this other interesting stat that I did also see. The peak of obesity was 2022.
Judging by what? Or like what's going on there? Is that Ozempic?
Age-adjusted obesity rate among adults aged 20 and older fell in 2023 for the first time.
But here's my question.
So you're saying people are getting healthier?
Less fat.
Yeah.
Here's my question though. Do we have numbers for 2024?
I would guess they've plummeted. Everyone's skinny.
So is this Ozempic or is this my question
is
Ozempic?
It's 100% GLP-1 drugs.
Right.
It's not everyone just woke up in 2023.
Did you listen to the Eli Lilly guy, GLP-1 guy? Did you listen to that?
Which one?
Friedberg and the GLP-1, Eli Lilly.
I didn't. Was it good?
So you good thing you brought that up. You know how I said, eventually you all become a shill for Big Pharma?
Yeah, if you get big enough.
The next day, Friedberg released a podcast with the CEO of Eli Lilly. How much did Friedberg get paid? 20 million?
Was it positive? Was there any like pushback?
I actually didn't listen to it. I thought you guys would have.
I would hope maybe he kind of pushed on him a little.
No. I don't think so. No.
Dude,
they didn't push on Trump. Why would they push
on Cuban a little,
No, they pushed on Cuban because they don't agree with them.
I know, but
they're pro pharma. They're pro.
So they made it.
I want to push Big Pharma.
Right. You're just not there yet. You're having to push Air One.
So 20 mil, what do you want? GLP, GLP-3, GLP-4?
Once we get big enough entertainment. The day you hear Pfizer, Eli Lilly interview.
You know what we should do? Is just start giving them free ads. And maybe one day we just call them up and say, hey, Pfizer, do you guys want to re-up next year?
I mean, Eli Lilly.
Do we like hear all the clips from the last year?
Send an invoice.
Send an invoice.
Say, hey,
last year we gave a discount.
Rich.
This year it's 25 million.
Oh, and just say, hey, do you want to renew the contract? And they'd probably be like, yeah, who is these guys?
They spend $8 billion a year.
I think we should
get $100 million.
I think we should send every Big Pharma an invoice, do a reading for all of them.
That'd probably work.
I would do it.
That'd probably work.
I would do
800 million. You want 20 million.
I want 20 million.
They won't even
No, I want 100.
know. There's 20 million fucking.
No, I mean, honestly, 5 million I would take. I'm out.
That's like when you get your clothes out of the laundry and you find a 5 in your jean pocket.
Yeah.
That's their 20 million.
Yeah, exactly. 20 mil. Every day I'd be promoting that shit.
Yeah. Well, they got to all in. I'm curious. I want to listen to it now to see what the take was. But to take it all the way back, it's just like, I feel like obesity is going to fall off a cliff with all these GLP-1s.
So.
100%.
You don't think?
Everyone's going to be on GLP-1 drugs.
I don't think so.
Why? What do you think?
Why? They like being fat?
No, the data shows that it actually hasn't, like, people aren't actually using it.
What do you mean?
Meaning, like, the drugs exist.
No, the people are using it. That's nonsense.
What data?
What do you? They just have record profits.
I
Eli
saw-
Lilly and fucking.
I saw some
Pfizer.
post that basically was like, all these GLP-1 drugs are coming and everyone's still fat.
But if it dropped even 1%, it means it's working.
What I saw all over the news last week was it's so in demand that the new concern is
Shortage?
Counterfeits. Like you can buy like from China, like Ozempic fucking needles, and it's like nothing, or it's like
I agree. I think it's gonna. We're just at the beginning of it. It's gonna explode.
Weren't they talking about even like it impacting like Kellogg's sales?
Yeah, and
things?
snacks at Walmart.
Right. Okay, well then no one's going to be obese in fucking 2 more years.
You really think so?
I agree. I think so.
I don't know, unless something crazy comes out about some wild side effect.
But what's worse than the side effect of being obese?
It would have to be sudden death.
Yeah.
Sudden terrible death.
Penis shrinkage.
That wouldn't do it.
Instant penis shrinkage. You think people would stop?
Yeah, because you could probably counteract that with a different drug.
Cialis.
I don't know. Yeah, just you take your Ozempic and Cialis, you're fucking golden. Head down to Cancun. Yeah, I don't know. I think
I just googled Ozempic. Ozempic fueled slimming is blowing up the wedding industry.
Yeah, everyone's getting married. Do you understand the population is about to explode?
Imagine what it's going to do to travel.
Yeah. Clothing.
Wedding.
I actually think the biggest beneficiary of Ozempic is going to be the clothing industry.
Yeah.
People are going to be able to wear clothes they never were able to wear before. Yeah. I love it.
Okay.
Do you do creatine, by the way?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Powder or gummies?
I have it in like a capsule. It's essentially the powder in a capsule. Powder is the answer, is the short answer. But it's really, really, really good. Like everyone should take it. There's nothing negative about it. It's really good for your brain.
I started
I can't be any smarter.
I started the creatine
You should stay on.
gummies.
Yeah.
And it ripped my stomach apart.
Really?
Yeah.
Took a shit?
No, it just felt like shit. And then I removed it and I stopped doing it.
Try the powder. Maybe it's something in the gummy.
You got to drink a lot of water when you take creatine.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But try the powder. It's really good for your brain.
No, I know. I've
Yeah.
seen all the research that creatine's great.
Yeah, I take it every day.
And it really fucked me up.
Well, try the powder though, because I've never noticed. Josh, have you ever noticed a stomach thing?
Yeah, but I was taking too high of a dose.
You jacked motherfucker. Try the powder. I've never noticed it.
Yeah. I think I need to.
Well, if you want to fuck up your stomach, Taco Bell has a new app that you can literally go on and you can, this is actually really cool, genius. And Taco Bell, like they've been good at social media for a while. I love how like, it's kind of like how a lot of stuff in the internet innovates with porn first.
Yeah.
It's like
Taco
a lot
Bell
of
is
stuff
like-
in marketing innovates with shitty fast food first.
Yeah.
And
well, specifically Taco Bell.
I know, you're right. But they have a feature where you can go on their app and you can first put in how much you want to spend. And they will offer you items that are within that
the budget,
like a meal within that
combos.
Yes, and you
if
can
you don't
adjust
like it, you keep hitting refresh.
Yes, it's literally like Tinder for you just swipe right, swipe. Oh, I'll take that meal.
So genius because the marketing they got, the amount of millions of people that posted it.
Yep,
insane. I started thinking about how many facets of life this can now be applied to.
Yes.
Like Macy's, Nordstrom, Revolve.
It should be anything for sale.
Anything for sale. You give a budget. Like I should be able to go on an e-commerce website, put my budget, in the case of apparel, occasion.
Yeah.
And just keep giving me different combinations till I like it.
Like, you know what would crush for me for that is like for holiday shopping.
Yes.
Like, oh, I'm shopping for kids, you know.
5 to 6.
Yeah. And I'm willing to spend $200. Yeah. And how about these things?
Yes. Unbelievable. It's such a genius idea. So I think that area is great. And I would even argue that kick it up a level of restaurants. Imagine if you can go to Delilah and say, okay, I'm taking out my friends to dinner.
Yeah.
My budget is $1,000.
Yeah.
There's 7 of us. What should I order?
You should be able to do that everywhere.
Everywhere.
You should be able to go to the waitress at Delilah and say, I have $1,000.
I need to be done. Everyone needs to be fed.
Right, we have 2 vegetarians, whatever. Everyone needs to be drunk
and have dessert.
Yeah. And then you're just done.
Done.
Yeah.
It's Taco Bell is just blown my mind.
Another one I saw was Target has a new feature, which is like an in-store GPS.
Wow.
Where you can say what item you want and you're looking through your phone. It's like AR, like augmented reality. And it tells you like, nope, go right on this aisle. Go left. My God. And it steers you to the item. I have
such a problem when I walk into those stores where I'm like in a rush and I'm like, and obviously now the staff at these stores don't exist.
Right. Right. So everyone's innovating. I mean, one thing that I think is really cool is like, this is a little separate from Taco Bell, but it includes it, is I think we've pictured a future like 6 years ago that was like all e-com. And I think instead the future is like a hybrid.
Yeah.
And so finding ways to make your app and your storefront or these things work together, or if you're Taco Bell, your delivery mixed with your price, you know, the way your app feeds into your real life experience there's some really innovative shit going on.
No, it's incredible.
Yeah. Okay. What's going on with JP Morgan?
We can go to comments. We're over an hour.
How long are we? Hour? Okay. Let's wrap it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's first call out, don't forget, group chat news on YouTube. We love going over there and seeing your guys' compliments, shit talking. I will say the shit talking has been a little subpar. I'd like to see better.
Yeah.
We have a really smart, witty audience.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see you step your game up if you want to roast us.
Yeah, you pussies.
You fucking bitch. So what do we got? We got a couple highlights from YouTube.
Yeah, the first one is from Jay Ramon. Good interview. Interesting, all the different gangs he mentioned, some being from South America. Wouldn't a lot of these be directly correlated to the border being open for so long? So
This is related to the DA episode.
I think Nathan Hochman has to toe the line of knowing he lives in a democratic city and he cannot, he got appointed by George Bush in his previous position. I guess he's a conservative by legacy, and he understands that his audience, and he's being very careful on how he's but not also, trying to alienate.
You know what I actually was thinking about after he came on, which I thought he was extremely impressive, and I got so many positive messages about the interview. He's clearly an LA guy. Like he said, he grew up in Beverly, like he went to Beverly Hills High School, whatever. And the majority of the city is really Latino. So how are you going to get those votes?
Right.
And I wish I asked them that question because
I think they're no different than any other group of people. They want to be able to walk down the street at night with their family.
But my only concern is I know the events he's doing. It's just rich white people that are at all these events.
You don't know every event he's doing.
Yeah, you don't know all he's doing.
That's nonsense.
I would say
the
main point.
You don't know where he was going.
Not nonsense. Why are you saying?
You think he's only going to rich white people events? That's nonsense.
I'm sure he's doing something. I'm sure he has a strategy
has stuff in the community.
Doing.
I see it on his Instagram.
I'm sure he's not this close to the election and hasn't.
Yeah, you're saying he's just hanging out at rich white people's house the entire time? That's nonsense.
I think the biggest stat that he and a lot of people about this topic mentioned, he said it on the pod, was that we talk about all this crime and all this shit. We're talking about it from our bubble of like nice areas, part of town. That all the crime upticks and all the murders and homicides disproportionately affect
Black and Latino people in the city.
Yeah, that was a great stat that he was able to.
And I think that's like we're obviously.
Like, is he going to? I don't know. So I'm just saying.
On his social, he is. Is
he going to East LA?
He's everywhere in the community. He's not just going to houses in Beverly Hills.
I'm sure he has to.
Yeah.
In LA, you must.
I hope so.
Speaking of which, are the Dodgers just crushing right now? Where are we
They're
at?
crushing.
They just beat the Mets.
They just won?
Yeah.
I'm into it. Today I watched the Bengals. I watched the Cowboys. Cowboys just suck forever.
Did the Bengals win?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they had to have, right? I turned it off a little early.
Yeah, they won. They won.
The model.
Okay. Another YouTube shout out or another YouTube comment.
Yeah, YouTube comment. BBB Bailey.
BBB Bailey.
Shout out to my brother Ryan for finally listening to the pod and getting addicted to it.
Okay, look at that. We got a
Where
combo.
you been, Ryan?
What's up, Ryan? Thanks for jumping on the train after 6 years. What episode is this? 901?
Yeah.
Nice.
Jesus Christ,
Jesus
Ryan.
Christ, Ryan. Better late than never.
I have two. We have 3 shout outs. I actually have 2. It actually came from my trip to New York. One, there's a woman named Victoria I work with. Her mom recently started listening to the pod.
Mm-hmm.
Maria from Palm Beach.
Nice.
Shout out to Palm Beach.
How did she do? Everything good with Helene? It was north of Palm Beach.
It was north. Yeah, exactly. I think she's fine.
Yeah.
Then I was at a sports bar in New York watching football. Ran into another Kathy, Ricky. So shout out to Ricky on the pod too for repping New York. We have a lot of New York Kathys.
We do.
Yeah,
we really do.
It's great.
We should do a thing there sometime.
We should.
I mean, we kind of did. What did we do there? Oh, we went to the Microsoft thing and then we did a meetup.
Yeah.
Do like a live pod or something.
Yeah, we should definitely do that. And then last from Gene. Hey guys, just wanted to give a shout out to a fellow Kathy that I was introduced to through Anand because of our connection with the Bored Ape Yacht Club. So huge to shout out Chad, who's planning our annual conference called Ape Fest, where 2,500 plus members will fly in from all over the world to hang in Lisbon. This guy literally travels the world to make sure all the venues, vendors, partnerships are on point. I can't even imagine the planning and on the ground work it takes to accomplish this every year. So big shout out to Chad and his production team and to Anand for the intro. All right. Glad to see Bored Ape is still out there kicking.
The NFTs are still grinding.
They're grinding. Good.
I mean, did all these things, like what's going on?
We'll find out in Lisbon.
We'll find out.
Anand, go to Lisbon.
Yeah, head on over. It's a quick trip.
Anand, go to Lisbon. Let's see what's going on. Be on the ground floor. Go for a night.
Just pretend it's another one of your
Gene
weddings.
can tell us.
Why don't you?
Yeah, just
why don't you
report
go
live.
with Gene to Lisbon? Give us on the ground coverage.
D went to the border.
Did he?
No,
We were supposed to go to the border.
Diego.
I know. I wish
That's
I
the
did.
border.
That's true.
I went to Legoland.
He went. It was wild. Okay, that's it.
That's it, guys.
Everyone, thanks for listening. Call your friends. Check in on them as well as just fucking meet up with them.
I think it's just meet up. Don't make it complicated.
Have some fun. Just go meet up. Everyone have a great week. Thanks for listening. See you Wednesday.